If you didn't already think that Tom Perkins was a fascist asshole, we have more evidence indicating that he really, really is. During an interview with Forbes, he talked about the voting system and how the wealthy should have more weight in our democracy. Take a look.
Your 60-second idea to change the world.
I've got it, and it's going to make you more angry than my letter to the Wall Street Journal.
I highly doubt it, but let's hear it.
Oh, you're not ready. So the Tom Perkins system is, you don't get to vote unless you pay $1 of taxes. But what I really think is, it should be like a corporation. If you pay $1 million in taxes, you should get 1 million votes. How's that?
That was so funny. Well, you know what? Maybe we should apply his idea, right? Maybe it's a good idea. Let's take a quick look at corporate taxes. How about that? The corporations that made the most money and how much money they paid in taxes. So just to give you a sense, from 1987 to 2008, when it came to corporations, they paid about 22.5% of their income, of their revenue in federal taxes, right? Since the recession, corporate taxes dropped to 10%. Okay. Now let's look at specific companies. Boeing, in addition to receiving a refund, despite $21.5 billion in profits, the company ranked high in job cutting, underfunding pensions, and contractor misconduct. So they received $21.5 billion in profits, didn't pay anything in taxes. In fact, they got a refund. So no vote for you, right?
Yeah, well, right now, of course, what's funny is that we have the Tom Perkins model. Yeah, if you donate more, you get a lot more say in government. And even the guys who don't pay taxes and the corporations who don't pay taxes, as Anna points out, get the most say. In fact, the reason they pay 0% in taxes is because they gave money through lobbyists, etc., donations to these political campaigns, so they get a hell of a lot more say than we do. Now, Tom Perkins is this venture capitalist who's a billionaire and thinks that he's the guy who published before saying the crystal knock is coming for the rich because progressives are like the Nazis and they're going to do the rich, or he's afraid they're going to do the rich what the Nazis did to the Jews.
What people do, right, is that the progressives are the Nazis and the billionaires are the Jews.
Right.
Right. That's the continuation of his idea.
Yeah.
The poor billionaires.
Yeah, and here he's saying, well, we don't have enough advantages, so I don't really believe in a democracy, but you see how progressives are fascist, right? Progressives are Nazis, but I don't believe in a democracy at all. I think that the state and business should pretty much merge, and whoever's the richest should have the most votes, and they should rule the country.
The state and the business merging. Yeah, what's that like?
What would be a word for that? Yeah. I'm trying to figure that out.
I love the telling stat that Danny had there. From 97 to 2008, corporations paid 22.
From 87 to 2008.
80, great, even better. 87 to 2008, corporations paying nearly 23% in taxes. Now they're down to 10%, and the profits have doubled. I thought these were the job creators.
Right. I pay 36% in taxes. What the fuck?
Well, why haven't these guys created any jobs? Why are we stagnant in job growth if these are the job creators? They've gotten what they wanted. And they don't create any jobs.
That's the thing that drives me so crazy, right? Because you'll have these right-wing conservative economists saying, no, we can't get rid of these corporate tax loopholes because it'll stifle job development, right? But we have a case study. Look at what's happening right now. They're not creating jobs. How much more evidence do you need? I don't really understand.
All we're seeing is a bigger rift between the salary of the lowest paid worker and the CEO of the company. It used to be something like 1 to 40, and now on average it's like 1 to 400. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. And as you were mentioning before, this is the system that we live in. Yes, we do live in a representative democracy, meaning that once we make it to the polls, every person gets a vote. But the system is rigged before the polls are even fucking open. Who is actually on the ballot for us to vote for is completely funded by corporate America. We live in a two-party system where we don't have the options available to us that we wish we did. So even though we can vote, and my vote weighs just as much as your vote, the system is rigged before we even get to the polls.
By the way, if we did an amendment to his idea, which is to vote based on the percentage of your income that you pay in taxes, they would actually the rich would get the least amount of votes, because the poor have to pay payroll tax is a much bigger percentage of their income, right? Whereas for the rich, it's a tiny percentage, right? And then sales tax is a huge part of the poor and the middle class's income. It's an insignificant part of the rich's income. So if we did it on a percentage of our income, we would get more votes than Tom Perkins would. How would he like that system? He'd say, oh my God, Kristallnacht is coming. And by the way, this is all from the guy who can't figure out why the poor and the middle class might be a little aggrieved with the rich, as he says things like, I should get 1 million times more votes than you.
You know, and he's
Gee, I
also-
wonder why people are pissed. I can't quite tell, Tom.
I don't understand why guys like that. I don't understand how guys like this succeeded so much, because we see now in this stagnant economy we have, when we've had now 5-6 years of giving corporate America more than they could possibly have rationally dreamt of, with no turnaround, no significant turnaround in the economy, tiny little. Like, doesn't he want? He made his $1 billion when we taxed them. Like, that's when he made it, when the economy is thriving. Why doesn't a guy like this, why is Warren Buffett, and I know he's not the only guy, but why is he basically the only guy that gets, when we tax more and we redistribute, some of the wealth to everyone and we pick people up, then we all make a ton of money?
Because he has a conscience, and at a certain point, once you're super, super, super rich, you're in the 0.001% of global wealth, you are pretty much impervious to market fluctuations. You are making money on the backs of your money and on the backs of your workers, no matter what happens in the market. And so for him, it's all about maintaining that wealth. It's all about holding on to it. And he understands just as well as we do with our liberal fantasies that the pie is only so fucking big. And if I get more of the pie, he gets less. So he's going to work on getting as much of the pie as he can and keeping the pie away from his lowest paid workers.
To me, that's the definition of unpatriotic, right? You live in this country, you take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you, and then you turn around and you just hoard all the wealth for yourself, and then turn around and say that you want to basically destroy the democratic process here.
But I mean, what Cara said is undeniably true and eloquently put. But you don't even, and Warren Buffett does have a conscience, but you don't even need a conscience. There's a business part of it that makes sense even if you don't have a conscience. And forget, okay, maybe this guy, what's his name again? Tom Perkins. Maybe Tom Perkins is exempt from that, but there are guys whose wealth is merely $322 million who will do better if the economy is growing.
That's true.
So I have
conscience or not.
I have a bit of an explanation for that. So first of all, greed is of course limitless. There's no end to greed. It doesn't matter how much you have. There's 3 guys ahead of me, and I got to go get them. And I got to win. I got to win. I got to win. I got to have more money, right? Now that's why Warren Buffett does so well, because he says, look, actually buying stocks is super easy. You buy low, you sell high. Okay, but the reason people can't do that, 99.9% of people can't do that, is because partly of fear and partly of greed. So when the stocks get high, they're like, oh, everybody's in, I gotta get in, it's gonna go higher, and then I'm gonna make a lot of money. And it's partly greed. Now you think, well, okay, but Tom Perkins is successful, so maybe he's in that 0.01% that could defy that. But I think that common mistake we make is assuming that people who are successful, even in finance and venture capital, et cetera, are the people who were the most rational, the smartest, the ones who did well. No. A lot of times, the people that are most successful are successful because they're the most shameless, right? Mm-hmm. And so they're willing to say, hey, I'm going to take this company, I'm going to strip it apart, and I'm going to make, whatever it is off of it, $100 million, and I'm going to fire everybody. Or I'm going to load it down with debt, knowing that that's going to destroy the company, but I'm going to take part of that debt and put it in my pocket.
Isn't that's what
Mitt Romney does, right? That's what private equity does oftentimes, right? Now, private equity could serve a good purpose, but they've twisted it and perverted it in a way that they make more money by being shameless. Yeah. So did Tom Perkins do some of that? I would guess, and I don't know his whole record, but I would guess that he probably did a significant amount of that. So it's not that he's smarter than us, it's that he's more shameless than us, which he's now amply proving.